Well, I have a greedy stepmom, and my father, he sees right through her because of true love. Well, it turns out that I'm actually the owner of the house we stay in. And here's the funny part. This whole time she thought it was my dad. Yeah, it's a weird story. I'll explain everything, but just know, this woman is evil. She doesn't really love my father, and I have proof. And something else that's pretty crazy. I'm going to expose her in front of the entire family, and I can't wait. Hey guys, I've been going through some serious trouble and literally have no one to share it with. I've seen many posts that get great advice. Here I'm hoping that the same will happen for me. So this will take a long ride up to explain it, but please keep with me. I'm 17, male. I'm living with my father and stepmom. My bio mom, she passed away when I was just entering teenage years. Growing up as a child, my father and I were super close until just after a few months of my mother's death. When I was 13, he introduced me to my stepmom. She has a name, but we'll call her Witch for the story. Not even 6 months later, he asked her the big question by asking her to marry him. It was hard for me to accept a new mother in my life too soon because the wound of my mother's death was still raw. I was angry at my father because I felt like it was only me who was mourning for my mom. Other than that, at first, I had nothing against my stepmom. Just that she would make small remarks about what I was eating and saying that I was getting kinda chubby. I told my dad about it, but he said that she was just looking out for me and that I should not worry about it. By the way, she also has a small daughter from her previous relationship, and she was just like her mom in terms of both looks and personality when she first came into our home. So, before their marriage, she became a constant visitor in my family. She used to hold parties and invite all family members, saying things like she always dreamt of a big happy family. Everybody was swooning over her, saying how good she was, but call the teenage rage, I was angry that my family had forgotten my mom so quickly. Everything she was doing sounded fake, and I got to know that very soon. Let me tell you, I have anxiety issues, and after my mother passed away, I was getting these panic attacks. Nightmares, every night. I'm consulting with a therapist, and the progression's quite slow. All this made me introverted, and I used to spend most of my time in my room, reading, playing video games. One day, she burst into my room announcing, well, nothing. It was only a few days after the marriage announcement, by the way. She said that I needed to get out of the room immediately as her daughter would be home soon and she would choose her room as they are going to get married soon. Well, I protested, saying there's plenty of other rooms to choose from. Why can't she choose from one of them and leave my room for myself? She said my room's position is better and has a window view, and her daughter desires to have it. Well, I told her, okay, it's not happening. My mom has designated this as my room and designed the room for me, and there's no way I'll let her ruin it. She gets angry, calls me all sorts of names, and she even shamed me for my sexuality as bisexual, and talked down to me and forcefully pulled me out of the room. No one was at home at the time, and I was in the living room crying, and Dad came home and rushed to me to ask what happened. Before I could even explain anything, she popped out of nowhere and said I was being dramatic for not giving the room to my about-to-be sister. Dad tries to console me, saying that I need to be a big boy now. 2 weeks before their wedding, my stepmom's brooch that she was going to wear for her wedding went missing. When I got home that morning from school, I discovered my room was trashed. She turned it upside down entirely with her looking under my bed. I yelled at her, saying what was she doing? She screamed at me, saying that I was a little thief and that I stole her stuff. I yelled at her, asking how she could blame me without any sort of evidence, and she calls my father demanding a punishment for me. She burst out in tears, and my dad came running and immediately taked her side, and I was grounded, no video games for a whole week. Only 2 weeks after, when she was getting ready for her wedding, her daughter showed up wearing the brooch. I saw her taking it from her dress quickly before anyone noticed it. I didn't yell at that because I knew no one would believe me, especially not on her wedding day. Also, along with the panic attacks and anxiety, I used to get sick a lot. I used to get the flu every other week, and I was under various medications most of my childhood, and when they threw me out of my room and made me choose another one. Many things like proper windows were not set there. So those changes and adjustments gave me a cold during their wedding. And to be honest, I did not even want to go to their wedding. I was happy that I got a cold thinking that I did not have to go then. But Mom came to my room and threw a dress that I didn't even like at all and told me she didn't want to hear anything. I would have to be at the wedding or else people would think that I did not have a good relationship with her. Maybe because it's true. Then when I fainted in the middle of the ceremony, she came to my room after the ceremony and gave an extra dose of scolding and accusations for stealing her thunder. After she permanently moved in, it became worse for me. Our first big argument happened regarding adopting a cat. As I've mentioned earlier, I'm allergic to many things, and one of them is a cat. One day at the dining table, my stepsister said that she wanted a pet cat for her birthday, and I thought my dad would say no, as he knows about my condition. But to my surprise, he agreed with her. I told my dad that he knows about my condition and how he's allowing her, and I also told them to consider adopting something else. My father apologized to them and said that they could not have it because of me. My stepmother tried to argue, but she shut herself up. The next morning, Dad came to my room and said that it's possible to control the allergy with medication. I told him I was already taking medicine and I should not take more. Dad tried to convince me, saying the medicine would be mild in doses, it won't bother me, and he would make sure that it won't come near me. When my dad went to work, stepmother entered my room unannounced, smirking and saying I tried to ruin her and her daughter's life. It won't happen under her watch. The irony. However, after the cat came into the house, no witch of her daughter tried to stop it from entering my room as my dad had ordered them to. Because of my health issues, my dad told me to lock the door from inside because one time I fainted inside my room and my dad had to climb up my window to save me. He has a point, but because of that, the cat lingers in my room whenever it wants. I told my father about it, and he told my stepmother that she said her daughter is still young and occasionally the cat goes there, but it's not often. I'm just making a big deal out of it, and my dad agreed to her after telling her to be more careful. After a few days, my father thought that he was spending more time with her little stepdaughter, and I was being left out, so he thought we father-son should go somewhere fun. I've always loved skiing since I was a kid, so I went for that. On our way back, I met one of my buddies. I asked my father if we could have a little sleepover in my house, watch some movies, and eat our dinner in my room. After my mom's death, I confined myself in my room and did not socialize that much. So my father was happy to see me wanting to spend time with my friends, and he agreed. I went to reheat dinner and take all the cutlery to my mom. I noticed my stepmom from the corner of my eye staring daggers at me, and I did not think much of it until she tells me that she had already prepared the table for us to eat, so I told her that my dad allowed me to eat in my room. She then proceeded to tell me in her house everything is going to happen at the table. What? Whether I like it or not. I then told her I was not going to do that and told her that I don't know where she gets the idea from, that this is her house because, well, it was my grandfather's and left upstairs with my friends. Over the years, she's only gotten worse. Crazy, as I didn't think it was possible, yet it was. Even went as far as to write a fake note saying that I was planning to end her in her sleep. Once she even planted some drugs in my room and showed them to my father to tell him I was doing it. My father becomes angry at me and asks me why I was doing this. I tried to protest, saying all allegations against me were fake. My father came close to me, patted me on the back, saying, well, try to be a good man. I'm growing up and he doesn't want to see me suffer. One thing about my father is that he's a good man, but through the years she's influenced my father so much with fake lies that he doesn't trust me. He always sides with her. My stepmother told the whole family that before meeting my dad she had cancer, which is why she can't work. Everyone seems to have a soft spot for her because of it, and if only they knew that she could be when no one is around. My life has become hell. Thanks to her. I was the brat child of the family, and she was the perfect mother to me in front of everyone. I was suffering mentally and physically, and it was eating me alive day by day. The most hurtful fact was that nobody in the family believed me. When I turned 16, another shocker happened. My grandfather, he passed away. We were really close and he was very dear to me, and after the funeral, my stepmother weirdly changed. She was good to me, and it's not only when others were around, she was good to me when it was only us living in the house. I thought she definitely had something in mind because there's no way I was getting cared for by her. But she's been good to me for months now. She's respected my privacy, scolded her daughter whenever she tried to sneak her cat into my room to bother me, and she tried to encourage me to go out and have fun with my friends. She even used to make lunch boxes for me for school, and I was not only surprised by those actions, but I was happy. I felt bad for those times I tried to be rude to her. I thought she needed her time to adjust, and this is her true self. I thought if I accepted her as a mom, then she would be happy. But one day, all those hopes turned into dust when I accidentally overheard her conversation with somebody, exposing her true plan. That's right. I learned that my grandfather left this house to me instead of my dad. She thought his father would be the owner, which is why she was good with him and married him. But as I got everything, she's trying to be good with me and will soon convince me to hand it over to her. I couldn't believe my ears. I was heartbroken. I had a panic attack at the moment and I fell to the floor. I was outside her door and she heard the sound and realized that I probably had heard her conversation. I thought she would be panicked just like now, but she was giving one of those evil laughs and said, as if I heard the plan, I should give what she wants and it'll be less of a hassle. I refused. And she threatened me saying, "Who will believe a junkie like me?" and told me she'll see my end of the breath. It's been a few days since the incident happened, and I still don't know or see any of her actions. I'm completely clueless. I don't know what I should do. Please help me out and give me your suggestions. I would appreciate anything. Update 1. Update time. I'm updating you about approximately a week after my last update. These past few days have been a blur. Sorry, I don't have a positive update today. I still cannot figure out how to prove her and expose her true nature. I don't have any close friends with whom I can share my situation, and sure enough, nobody in my family who knows my stepmom would believe me. Those panic attacks I had that day got worse due to the shock that I'd faced, and I was hospitalized for a few days too, after I fainted 2 times in a row for skipping meals and medicine. I'm sorry I was so stressed I just couldn't eat. I thought my stepmom was mean to me because I was also mean to her, but I always just believed that she loved my father. Well, that was proven to be wrong. After I came back from the hospital, my mother made my life even more miserable. Sometimes I can't help but wonder what I did in my past life to deserve all of this. I'm going to take a few moments to thank everybody who read my story and showed their concern. I promise you that I'll try to keep good and, get myself healthy. Just like my family members, some of you believe that I really do drugs, and I heard her plans when I was high. But you need to believe me that I don't. It's true that I suffer from anxiety and countless diseases, but I've never touched unprescribed drugs. And I was totally sane when that happened. I was even in a better mood during those few days because I was getting affection from her. So I can assure you that I was totally 100% in the right mind. After I came back from the hospital, my stepmother told everyone that I was doing drugs, which is why I had to go to the hospital. One day we were at the dining table and my father was advising me not to do drugs and all, and I was silent because he would not believe me anyways. Why bother using my power? My mom suddenly claimed that after I got the inheritance, I became more of a brat and I did not want to listen to anyone anymore. She requested Dad to hand over the property to him for my own good, and I protested, saying she's lying. She wanted to take the property for herself and she was a fraud. But my dad, on the other hand, assured me by my behavior that the property made me more of a brat than ever. He told me to hand over the property to him or his wife for the time being, and I refused. I told him that it was the last thing my grandpa gave me with love, and I would never, ever hand it over. He became angry and at that grounded me for a week. I don't really know what to do. My father is, on no talking terms with me right now, and it's absolutely killing me from the inside. Update number 2. Hello again. I can't be thankful enough for the flooded suggestions I've got from you guys. Most comments were saying that I should hide a camera in my room and record her, and she frequently came to my room and spilt everything without hesitation, thinking nobody would believe me. I decided to go with that, but I thought I needed to know her full plan. That day, when I overheard her conversation, she stopped midway when she heard the noise of me falling due to a panic attack. So I thought I would do some background checks on her. For that, I needed her daughter because she stole things. She grew up to be a careless person, and as long as it benefits her, she doesn't care what she's doing. I bribed her with my video game player, and she gave me her mother's phone and password. I found out a number that she frequently chats with, and I read their chats, and to my shock, she already has a boyfriend and was cheating on my father all along. Apparently, both of them had planned this, and they planned to get married to my father, and after getting the property and money from him, she would run away. And by the way, I also saw their message discussing how she never had cancer, and all the reports and everything was fake, phony. They made it to gain sympathy from the surrounders, and the only problem that hampered their plan was that my grandfather gave the inheritance to me instead of my dad, which is why she was behaving all goody-goody. I knew that she would blurt out all of this if I managed to get her angry at me. So one day I planted a camera on my desk and hit it with a vase. I called her by her name, and it was enough to make her angry. But when she arrived with rage in her eyes, I ordered her to bring me a glass of water. When she refused, I told her that I was the owner of the house. Now she should be better practicing obeying my orders. Well, that was enough for her to get triggered. She went on telling me how it would be hers soon, and how she would make my father force him to give it to her. She also said that once she gets it, she'll throw my father and me out and bring her boyfriend in. She also said that she won't even need validation from her relatives as well, and the way she was getting it by telling them the fake story of cancer, because everything will be hers. With that, she stormed out of the room and I stopped the recording. I thought that I would have to bribe her daughter again to get screenshots to prove that the cancer story was a lie, but because of her ego, she really blurted out everything. Well, less work for me. Now I'll find a good day to collect everything and show it to everyone. And my father's out of the city at this moment, and I'm just waiting for his arrival now. I'll update you guys as soon as this is all over, so wish me luck. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back with an update, and this is my 3rd update for y'all. So, get this. It's been a whole month since I last posted, and I know many of you guys were waiting for the update, and I was waiting for it to happen as soon as possible. But I was waiting for every single person in my family to have free time, because everybody needs to know the truth. I wanted my stepmom to get caught red-handed, so if a teenager like me suddenly invited everyone into the house, that would create suspicion in her mind, and she might change the evidence somehow. I mean, if she asked her daughter about it, everything will be disclosed. So when Dad came, all of us were having a dinner. I told them that as Dad came after 1 month, we should invite everyone and celebrate it. My stepmom did not care, so she agreed. My dad was happy that I was getting involved in the family matters, so he would never say no to me. Well, that day came, and stepmother was busy inquiring about the chef who was hired by the party. So she loves having an upper hand on anyone she can, as she can't do that to any of us anymore. She does that to other people, which is why she's in the kitchen the whole evening, and everyone was in the living room watching TV drinking beer. I found it as the perfect opportunity to show it to everyone. First, I told them that along with celebrating my father's arrival, I had another motive to invite everyone. I told them my stepmother was planning to steal money from my dad and property from him and throw us out or run away for the time being with her long-term boyfriend. I told them she has a boyfriend even when my father was married to her. I told them that she never had cancer and she just said all that to gain sympathy from everyone, and also that nobody would force her to work because of that. I wanted to see their reaction, and before showing them the proof, some of them were shocked, but mostly they said that they thought I had stopped doing drugs for a while. Did I start again? My stepmother also came out of the kitchen to join the fun, and she was side-eyeing me and saying to everyone that I did in fact start doing drugs again. My father looked disappointed, and then I blurted out the golden words in my life. I have proof. Everybody was silent in the remarks, and my father asked what that meant. I told them since the very beginning she's been rude to me whenever we were alone, and nobody was around here. She would just pretend. She realized that I won't budge from her pretense, and it's why she made me look like a junkie and made serious issues so nobody would believe me. But one thing she did wrong, out of her ego, is that she blurted out everything. When I provoked her just a bit, and I took the opportunity to record it. That's right. The panic in her eyes was so enjoyable to watch. When I took out the phone and was about to connect it to the big screen, she jumped at me and tried to stop me, but Dad came and stopped her. This was the first time he stood up against her. The video captured everything, and everyone was too shocked to even say anything. After everything got exposed, my stepmother jumped from her seat and came to me and tried to slap me. She was accusing me of things like I paid her to say that and just edit it to frame her. This time, everyone came and stopped her. Angry would be an absolute understatement of what I had witnessed in my father at the time. He was furious and tried to actually slap her. I stopped him, saying her boyfriend, and she would stretch the slap into beating and frame it against him, and he ordered her to get out. And he's going to call the cops if she doesn't. While leaving, she said she'll be back with proof that I'm an a-hole, and she's innocent, and with that she left. Everyone in my family cried and apologized to me for letting this happen for years and not listening to me. And at least I'm happy now that they're finally believing me. I know she won't stay gone after so many years of this. She'll come back and will try to frame me, and I'll have to be ready. I told everyone about it as well and explained to them what could have happened after that, and they're prepared for it too. Update number 4. This is the final update of the story. This will be a short one. We're right that my stepmother tried to claim her position back with fake papers saying that she had cancer and all. She also brought her boyfriend and made him say that he was her brother. But I collected the contacts of her parents the day I was sneaking her phone. I called them in front of her and they claimed that she was arrested for doing drugs with her boyfriend when she was 17. And after she got out, they never accepted her and the boyfriend. They gave them a chance, saying if they quit drugs, they would accept her again, but that never happened. Now, I understand how it was easy for her to hide drugs in my room and accuse me. She tried to threaten her parents for money too, but they disagreed. They had no idea she was doing all that behind their backs and apologized to us as soon as we told them. My father, on the other hand, had finalized their divorce, but she refused to sign it and constantly shows up at our home. But when my father showed all the proof and all that she was forced, she had to sign. She tried to confront us many times after that, so we got a restraining order. Now, we're at peace. Have you ever had a crazy in-law story? Or maybe something similar to my story? Let me know about it down below.